From the people who brought you the Biden cover-up, the DNC spiking its autopsy report on what went wrong in the 24 election. Their chairman, a squirrely-looking guy who goes by Ken, he ordered the autopsy months ago, but now says the release would be counterproductive for the party. But, Ken, what changed? Remember when you said this?
I do believe we need a post-election review after every election. And frankly, I was a little disappointed we didn't have one after the 2020 election. What we don't know yet, and we won't know for some time until we do that review and we get our hands on all the data, is the how and why we lost ground.
Kamala, 28, benefits greatly from the effort to bury her campaign's failures. If only she had more support from Team Joe.
Do you feel like that Joe Biden and his people did everything they could to help you win the election?
I write about that, as you know, and certainly I think we needed more time, and from certain places in the administration, we needed more support.
But the Obama pod bros say, release the files.
Just hoarding this information, hiding stuff from people, it's not only like counterproductive, it's also feeds the distrust people have of the Democratic Party. And they think it's a cabal. And you know what? On days like this, I agree. Keeping a report secret here in the age of the Epstein files. It's like, what are we doing? That's a good idea. Hey, this report that I've been talking about for the full year, we're keeping it secret. And I'm letting everyone know.
Hakeem, all right, DNC Chair Pam Bondi, what are we doing here? Hakeem Jeffries, you know what? Get us a discharge petition. Let's get this thing out.
All right, so Jessica, this looks really bad. Why are they doing this?
I don't think it looks like really bad. We know what's in the autopsy report, which is too much focus on culture war issues, identity politics, should have differentiated yourself from Joe Biden. The trans ad, the they-them ad was the final nail in the proverbial coffin. Should have done more press, should have gone and flown to Joe Rogan, whatever. But I wish that they had released it. I don't think you can give a slew of interviews saying, we need this, we need this, we need this, and then tell people it's okay, it's going to be fine. And it does seem like it benefits Kamala to do that, even though there are folks in her orbit who were in the Axios piece about it who said that she didn't have anything to do with it. I will add, though, that there was no GOP autopsy after 2020, which probably is because Donald Trump was still saying that he won that election. But in 2022, there was an autopsy that got leaked, and then Ronna McDaniel and the RNC spiked it, and they did not release the report. So there was a bit of precedent for it, but I 100% think that it should be out there. And I would be one of those people that would read through it and try to take those learnings and apply it to future elections so we don't lose again.
What do you think?
Georgia kind of said Donald Trump won the election today, by the way. Fulton County put something out. They said they should not have counted a bunch of votes.
Like 11,870.
More than that, actually, which is what's crazy.
Oh, my God, President Trump,
He just wanted 11,000, and they miscounted tens of thousands. So anyway, listen, one of Pete Buttigieg's loyalists said, I suspect the reason why this isn't being released are precisely the reasons why it should be released. And I have no idea what that means. So I thought, what are the reasons? Maybe the reasons are they don't want to acknowledge that Biden was a bad president, especially for the economy, that immigration mattered to people, even those that aren't bigots, that Harris was really bad at delivering a message. I mean, I think that's pretty unanimous. And maybe Trump is just more popular in this country than they'll ever want to admit. There are some technical things they should look at. Is their grassroots campaigning good? Are they registering people to vote? We know that, they're doing really good with dead people and illegals, but are they registering the actual voters to vote? We don't know that. Is Stacey Abrams going to be involved moving forward so she can show up to an apartment building, hand out some cheeseburgers, and collect a bunch of votes? We don't know that. And we're not going to find out because they're not going to release this. I think it only benefits Republicans for them to not release it, because I don't want the Democrat Party of Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania to learn anything. I don't want any of these states that used to be behind the blue wall or could be southern blue states to have any kind of advantage. I want Republicans to win. I don't know that they're going to in the midterms, but I don't see a problem with it as a conservative for Democrats to hold close to vest all the mistakes that we know they made.
When I die, Tyrus, I would like an autopsy so they can study my brain.
Yeah, because obviously I think that's a given.
Science needs to know.
Your family will benefit from the bidding war from the museums and NASA and all the people trying to kick in to figure out what made him tick. You know what? I'm gonna side with the
cover
Ken
up.
Here, is it?
Ken,
Here?
yes.
Listen,
The man who
there's
calls
certain,
himself Ken.
Yeah, the man who calls himself Ken. Listen, some of the worst behind whoopings of your life, you don't sit down and break out the, hey, let's watch the video of when mom left dad at Christmas for his uncle. Let's break that video out. You know, let's show the time that I went into the dentist and came out with no teeth. Like, no one wants to relive horrible. You think the Atlanta Falcons want to go back and talk about the Super Bowl they almost won till Tom Brady showed up?
You didn't have to bring that up.
Listen, I'm
You didn't have to
sorry,
bring
but I
that up.
have to bring it
That's
up
hateful.
because
That's
do you want to? Would you like this weekend for us to break down and we can watch that game together?
I'm good.
See, oh, you're good because nobody wants to relive.
You can watch until halftime.
We have literally all been unburdened. We have been unburdened by what has been, and so therefore the Democratic Party is going
Yeah.
to further let us know it was so bad. We never need to see it again, and that's all you need to know.
You know,
the Rotten Tomatoes rating on the autopsy was -0.
I agreed with you guys until I heard you. And I don't know now.
I mean, there is not an electrical vehicle accident without people looking at what happened so they can learn from it. This just shows me that the Democrats, clearly to their detriment, would always prefer to be like right in their own name than to be actually right. They are digging in their heels. Nothing to see here. We're learning from our mistakes, but we don't want to admit to you guys, like that level of hubris wrapped up in Kamala and wrapped up in Biden, wrapped up in that whole party. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. I have 3 historical examples.
Oh.
Space explosion, Challenger, that horrific Michigan experience where all of those people died in the ICU from the tainted lines, and then United Airlines Flight 173. And my point is, when they did those postmortems after that were like, oh my gosh, these were terrible. Thousands of people died. What happened? What was the commonality of all of those? That it embarrassed leadership. That it does suck to watch your team get totally blown out by officials that continue to favor Tom Brady. It does suck and is painful to watch how your party completely ignored half of America and what they wanted.
Thanks for killing the mood.
But
there.
no one died. We just lost an election. Like, we're fine.
I know, but it's your leadership, the point is preventing, because they don't want to be embarrassed. They're preventing the opportunity to
We're
learn from
plenty
it. But to your
embarrassed
point, why am
Yeah,
I
I think
telling
if
them
they
what
want
to
to
do?
be
Why am I helping?
embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, I think
yeah.
that's the first time you made Jesse cry like that.
That was funny.
Because he knows.
That was funny.
No one wants to
I
rewatch
never
that.
changed my mind,
Yeah.
but I did now. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.